please, don't try anything that you're about to see us do at home. Ever.
On this episode of Mythbusters, was the moon landing a hoax?
Yep, the team are tackling the tallest tale of all. Did NASA fake the Apollo moon mission?
That's 100% wacky right there.
Adam and Jamie first focus on the photos.
Behold our moon landing set.
Do these stills prove Neil Armstrong took his small step in a studio?
Taking the shot.
Then they investigate the myth that to fabricate the classic look of lunar landings, NASA simply slowed down the film. And finally, Cary, Grant, and Tori
Oh my God. These are all vacuum chambers?
take on claims that in a vacuum, flags don't flap and foots don't print.
In your face, conspiracy theorists.
Who are the Mythbusters?
Did you know what was lurking in your basement?
Adam Savage
This is the best cooking show ever.
and Jamie Heineman.
Is that beautiful or what?
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Wow! Joining them, Grant Imahara,
That was crazy.
Cary Byron,
Let's go.
and Tori Belleci.
Is this as disturbing as I think it is?
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
Let me guess, we're doing what? Moon landing myths?
We are. Perhaps one of the biggest myths of all is that NASA faked the moon landing and perpetrated a hoax on the American people. So pervasive is this myth that 20% of Americans today still believe it, and we're taking it on.
Well, how are we going to do that? The number of claims are massive. I mean, they range from photographs to heat signatures to footprints.
I know there's a lot of them. I think what we should do is cherry pick the most common ones and piece the truth together as best we can.
Like a jigsaw puzzle.
Exactly.
On July the 16th, 1969, the world watched, wondered, and worried as three brave astronauts headed for the moon.
The Houston thrusters go, all engines, you're looking good.
Then 5 days later came that extraordinary moment in time
Eagle has landed.
when Neil Armstrong took those first tentative extraterrestrial steps.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
11 men followed in Armstrong's footsteps, each stride filling the earthbound audience with pride and confidence in scientific endeavor.
What a view, isn't it, John? It's absolutely unreal.
But did we really leap into the future? Or were we pushed into believing a giant PR stunt? Did NASA pull off the greatest cover-up in human history?
Oh, yeah, perfect. Growl like a tiger. Mew like a kitten. Guess what our first myth is?
Still photography?
Yes! Most of the alleged evidence that NASA faked the moon landings comes from NASA's own photography, which theorists claim shows clear evidence the moon landing was faked in the studio and could not have been filmed on the moon.
Say hoax.
Hoax!
So these are the photos the guys will focus on. According to Apollo hoax advocates, this shot was taken in a studio because the shadows are not parallel. Supposedly, that's something that could only happen with multiple light sources. Then there's this image of an artfully lit astronaut. Conspiracy cheerleaders claim if he really was standing in the shadow of the moon module, you wouldn't be able to see him so clearly.
You know what? Let's do parallel shadows first.
How do you want to test it?
Oh, I think we should do a large miniature because we can test the placement of all the various elements. It's kind of a complex thing.
Yeah, we need a lot of control over those elements.
Exactly.
All right, let's do it.
So, first up, the guys need a single, super-sized light source to stand in for the sun.
Amy, I'd like to introduce you to your son. Over here, I look like one of the aliens in Close Encounters.
That's the solar. Now for the lunar. Cue the build montage, because Jamie's making a moon.
I've got a good first start on my lunar set. It's just spandex and, let's see, Portland cement with a little bone black, which is basically black powder.
That could not be better.
What do you say we turn on the lights and see what our shadows look like?
Yeah, let's see the light. Let's turn it around. I'm spinning around. Watch your eyes. What do you think?
Works for me.
We've had the lights, and there's been plenty of action. So where's the...
This is the camera that we're going to use. It's a Hasselblad that's very similar to the one that was used on the moon, except that we put a digital feed out the back so that we can look at the images in real time on a monitor and make comparisons to the original shots.
All right, with our sun in place, man, in addition to looking totally freaking awesome, it's pretty clear here, with the ship and the rocks both on a flat surface, that their shadows are totally parallel.
And that is what the myth proponents say the NASA photo should look like. Instead, you can see the rock and landing module shadows are in different planes.
Now we need to figure out what it would take to make them not parallel.
Yeah, let's play with the topography underneath it and see what we can get. Conspiracy theorists say there's only one explanation for this. 2 light sources. And since there's only one light source on the moon, and that's the sun,
That's really kicking it forward.
this has to be shot in a studio. We're positing that it's the topography of the moon causing these shadows of the rocks to look like they're not parallel, when in fact they are, and that's what we're trying to imitate here. It's all just about adjusting us directly to the light.
What Adam and Jamie have done is simply give the miniature lunar landscape some realistic contours and imperfections.
That's perfect.
Is it?
Yeah.
And the shadows appear to move out of their parallel path. And Adam, happy,
Dude, your setup looks perfect.
takes his snap.
Take in the shot. So I can hear what you're saying. You're saying, but you guys replicated the moon shot on a set, and you're special effects artists. In fact, you're exactly the guys they would have hired to do this kind of thing in the first place. That's not the point. The point is we're addressing the specific claim by conspiracy theorists that this photo has only one explanation, and that's 2 light sources. We've demonstrated here 2 shadows which are parallel from a single light source, which we've made look far off parallel using only the topography that they're sitting on.
And I guess that means it's busted.
Totally busted. You can achieve shadows that do not look parallel from a single light source.
In a vacuum, stay puffed spacemen don't stay puffed for long.
That's what happens to you in space if you don't have a spacesuit.
Oh, it's like a raisin. Well, as much as I love busting out the vacuum chamber, what does the marshmallow astronaut have to do with the moon?
Okay, well, as we know, the surface of the moon is a vacuum. And some of the conspiracy theories contend that the moon landing footage is fake because some of the things that they did are impossible to do in a vacuum.
That's right. There's the one theory about the flag. A lot of people think it looks like it's flapping in the wind. Now, that would be impossible in a vacuum because no air, no wind.
Someone actually told me a good one about the footprints. The idea is that the astronauts couldn't leave such distinct footprints on the moon because there's no moisture in a vacuum, and the moisture is what hold the footprint together.
So how are we going to test this one?
I think we're going to need a bigger vacuum.
And like way more marshmallows.
These vacuum theories are some of the more convincing in the conspiracy canon. After all, it appears logical that the breeze that fluttered the flag just couldn't be there on the moon. And anyone who's taken a walk on a beach knows only wet sand leaves a definite footprint. So with no moisture on the moon, then these images must be fake.
Okay, so we're going to have to replicate the conditions of the moon as close as possible here on Earth.
Well, I think the closest we're going to get are the vacuum chambers in Alabama at NASA.
Yeah, but we're not allowed to go into the vacuum chamber. So the experiments that we make, they're all going to have to be operated remotely.
Okay, well, I'd like to do the flag test and build it to the original NASA specifications and then figure out some way to turn it like the astronauts did.
All right, well, I'm going to take care of the footprint myth. I was wondering if you could help me with an experiment to demonstrate the whole theory behind this myth.
Boys, don't fight. Plenty me to go round.
Outside M7, Tori sets up the demo with the closest thing he can find to lunar dust. Actually, it's plain old sand, one half of which Tori moistens.
Now, conspiracy theorists say that this clean of an imprint is impossible because you need moisture, and since there's no moisture on the moon, this cannot happen. Now, I'm going to demonstrate what they're talking about with this sand here. I have dry sand and I have wet sand. We're going to have Carrie put on a moon boot. You know how to moonwalk? Okay, so the answer is no. She's going to step in both, and we're going to see what kind of impression is left behind.